Hey everyone, the guy Matt here, and welcome to college football picks for Week 8 this year. Let's hop straight into it, already halfway through the year. Starting off, we got Michigan and Michigan State. Rivalry game, anything can happen, except a Michigan State win, let's be honest. Michigan is just gonna, I think, cakewalk through the schedule still to that big date in Happy Valley. And, Michigan State, how do you blow an 18-point lead to what goes in? Like, how? I mean, nothing else to say really. Michigan just cruising through a cupcake schedule. Michigan wins easily. Alrighty. And the game of the week up next between Penn State and Ohio State. Penn State, obviously one of my two schools, Oregon being the other, haven't won against the Buckeyes since that magical 2016 night in Happy Valley with the blocked field goal. They will score. As Penn State won the Big Ten that year, and this is your best chance and best team to do it since then. But obviously the Buckeyes, it's tough test with guys like Marvin Harrison on the outside, but all a bit banged up with M.A. Abuka, probably pronounced it wrong, I apologize, and Travion Henderson, I believe, could be out for this game. So yeah, can be a tough, but still, it's gonna be a tough test no matter what, especially going into the shoe. But Penn State has that toughness that Ohio State lacks no matter what Ryan Day says. Your defense, best defense in the nation by the metrics for Penn State. As I believe with guys like Sean Robinson and Adisa Isaac on the D-line, plus Abdul Carter linebacker, we're able to get pressure on the O-line because that's the weak point of Ohio State. Their O-line's the weak point. And, the secondary will be able to slow them down enough with the pressure helping in hand to give a defensive masterclass and their offense a shot. And I believe their offense will come through with the defense's help. Obviously, Joao Penn State brought him in so he could be the guy. Like the Tom Blackledge, elevate us to a national title from back in the day. Shout out to Tom Blackledge, just love him as an announcer and as a quarterback at Penn State. But yeah, Joao is the guy like that to elevate Penn State to that next level, and he shows it this weekend. He makes big plays when it matters. This is his welcome. I'm an elite moment. Watch out for me for the Heisman next year, maybe this year, but not enough stats. But Joel coming out party officially puts the whole nation on notice as Penn State knocks off Ohio State in the shoe. Penn State wins. Alrighty. And up next, Duke and FSU can be a tough game for the Noles. Well, even as on the road, it's probably easy because Duke's student section got taken over last week by NC State. But FSU, Duke's defense, despite being out Riley Leonard, more than likely still going to be a tough task for the Noles. But tough task, yes. But I don't. But Noles will be able to overcome it. Jordan Travis, Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman on the offense, too much. Duke's offense can sputter against even with Ryland, who's probably gonna be out this week. But yeah, FSU just too much talent. Duke, shows beyond an upward trajectory of a Mike Elko, but could he leave for Texas A&M if they file Jimbo after this year? Who knows? FSU wins. Alrighty, Arizona State and Washington up next. Washington, I, I will say this. I know I just submitted doing a logo thing, but I will say this. Yeah, you beat your rivals last year, and you beat them again this year. You were favored, and you are the higher ranking. You don't need to storm the field. That just makes you look like a Bush League school and the Bush League fans. So I'm not feeling with that really. Like I know Oregon didn't lose. Dan Lanning lost the game. Washington didn't win. We'll talk more about Oregon side in a second. But could have been Michael Penix Heisman moment. Obviously cemented himself as the front runner. Washington now has the inside track to Las Vegas for the Pac-12 title and the CFP. But that just makes you look like fucking idiots, man. Like you're the higher ranked and you stormed the field and you won last year and you won. Like what are you doing? Like not as an Oakland fan, it's like a football. Like what are you doing, man? But yeah, Arizona State probably the lowest team in the Pac-12. Washington's offense just more of the same as you've seen from them. Unstoppable. Washington wins. And UCF Oklahoma up next. Boy, UCF. Haven't mentioned them much this year. Aside them moves to the Big 12. But man, that loss to Baylor still stings a few weeks ago. It'd be obviously some growing pains, not just, like immediately 14 and 0 that was a couple years ago, 5 years ago what they had, but I expect it better from the Knights, especially if Gus Malzahn in the SEC, to like compete in the Power 5. I know it could take some time, but still, like, expect it better. As speaking of SEC, playing future SEC team, Oklahoma. as Bumo Suno seems to be back with Brent Venables under year two. He to me, coach of the year, him, Kalen the Bull, kind of a two-horse race at this point. Shout out to Shoei Kahuna. They'll force to talk about him in a second. Great job with the Falcons. But yeah, Knights obviously John Rice Family might be able to help them a bit running the ball, and Malzahn for some experience against tough teams that not enough. Oklahoma just too much talent. Dylan Gabriel, the former Knight, playing his former team in Norman this week. Just in case you didn't know, fun fact for you. And Gabriel continues to maybe fly under the radar as a Heisman candidate as Oklahoma gets the win easily. Oh yeah, we haven't talked much about the Red River game. That just made me realize because both teams had a bye last week. Man, what a great game that was! Texas and Oklahoma. That goal line team by Oklahoma. Make, if they won the national title this year, everyone will point to that goal line stand as the moment Oklahoma cemented itself, because that was something. And Texas, obviously, Quentin Ewers played great that game, except in the first quarter, the first part, the first two picks. That really sunk the Longhorns a few weeks ago, but man, what a game. Just they both had the bye, so we didn't have a chance to talk about it, but still, great game. Texas shows, Texas, all the way back. Still, we don't know, but that is a game I'd say acceptable to lose to a rival neutral field, but Texas still might be back. We'll probably see Texas and Oklahoma meet in Arlington for the Big 12. As like I said, I just kind of overshadowed this game of Houston really doesn't have a chance. Cool Hail Mary vote last week against West Virginia to win against Dana Holmgren's former team, but Texas too much talent. The Longhorns are gonna come out hungry. They do have a shot though to do a typical Texas and slip up after a loss, just being focused on Oklahoma and Arlington. But I don't think they do that. I think Sark gets the guys focused. Say, hey, so a lot to play for. Let's just take this one game at a time. Win out. Ewers will look good again. Texas wins easily. Alrighty, Washington State and Oregon. Man, Washington State just got blown out by Arizona last week in Pullman. I really didn't expect that. I thought Arizona, just tough schedule, but man, Jetfish, building something cool down there for them. As expected better from the Cougars, but Oregon obviously house allowed Otson obviously deflating after Dan Lanning. At least he owns like a man which I respect. Last week of how many times he went for it on fourth down. Just take the points once and you force OT it, more than likely. Who knows what happens. But can't do anything about that. Gotta move on. And I think Oregon does move on this week. Another Washington school doesn't help, but Oregon moves on, gets the win, and we will see Oregon and Washington, I believe, confidently in Las Vegas for the Pac-12 title game. The two best teams by far in the Pac-12. As Oregon rebounds with a nice win over Wazoo. Give me Oregon. Alrighty, UVA, UNC up next. UNC blows them out. UNC looked pretty good. Tez Johnson coming out party. Tez Walker, sorry. Tez Johnson, Oregon receiver. Tez Walker coming out party last week. Glad for him to get his eligibility transfer. Really happy for him, and he showed why. As I think you see more of the same him and Drake May this week as UNC rolls past Virginia. Alrighty, Tennessee and Bama. Third Saturday in October up next. Man, talk about a classic last year in Knoxville between these two teams. I think the goalpost is still in the Tennessee River. Got a buddy down in Knoxville who said that. But yeah, obviously Bama's gonna be and Saban particularly looking for revenge against the Tennessee team that's looked shaky at times, especially on offense. Everyone expected Joel Milton to come in and keep that offense where it was at. That has not been the case. As Vols offense has struggled a bit, as Bama's defense, it's kind of like the Saban teams about 10, 12 years ago, that's one of the defenses and kind of just mid-quarterback and game manager quarterback play. His first title teams at Bama. Definitely gonna be a close one. Tennessee's defense pretty solid as well. Better than expected, I'd say. But yeah, against Bama, and Bama's offense still showing some struggles as they edge past Arkansas last week. It's gonna be a tough test this week, but I think revenge gets it done. That's a big factor. Dallas Tone, I think, will make some plays against Milton. Milton will make mistakes, but Millwall and Saban have the coaching advantage for the Tide. I think Bama squeaks out a revenge game win against Tennessee. Give me Alabama. Alright, Ole Miss against Auburn. I thought Auburn would keep it close, but I forgot LSU in that game, not Auburn that game. Still, real things happen in Death Valley, but weirder things happen on the plains at night. Obviously, a few years ago, Lane Kiffin under heavy scrutiny for some game management in a night game at Auburn. Will it happen again? I don't know. Ole Miss Uh, they really do have a shot, especially Georgia in a couple weeks. They just need Bama to slip up. They probably won't make Atlanta unless Bama slips them multiple times, which is unlikely, but they still got an outside shot at the playoff unless something happens here, which I think something's gonna happen here. I'm going with the upset. Auburn over Ole Miss. Last time Auburn was at Jordan Hill, almost knocked off Georgia, number one team, when they had Brock Bowers. We'll talk more about that injury next week when Georgia's off their bye. But Ole Miss not a complete team as Georgia. Lane Kiffin questionable game management. I think Hugh Freeze wants to get a bounce that game to get a quarterback going. And I think Auburn on the plains at night, weird things happen. Auburn gets the upset. Give me Auburn to win. I think we got Utah and USC up next. Caleb Williams got absolutely embarrassed last week against Notre Dame. As Utah kind of did that to him last year. Not embarrassed, gave him a loss last year as USC, man. Like, how do you miss the playoff? You poach Oklahoma and you're somehow worse than them. Like, how does that happen? But yeah, now we got to regroup and face a tough Utah team at home. But I think the Trojans can get the win. Utah's offense is struggling. Cam Rising, still no clue what's happening with him. But I think USC's offense will be able to do enough gun. They struggle against tough teams, so I think they get the Utah off their back at least with a bounce back win. I think Caleb Williams wants to prove that last week was a fluke, and he does. Give me USC to beat Utah. As Utah's defense, I think, will kind of just fold against them, and the offense, I have no faith in. USC wins. Why, South Carolina, Missouri. Shane Beamer's a fucking idiot. Broke his foot after that tough loss last week. Yeah, 219. That's weird. Should be based on the AP poll. I apologize for that. But yeah, obviously, tough loss to the Gamecocks against Florida. As Missouri blew out Kentucky, and honestly felt like in Kroger Field. And I think Missouri continues to show they're the second best team in the East. They got Georgia, gave Georgia the toughest game until the playoff last year. I think Missouri continues to show that they're on New Year's 16-10, though. Give me Missouri to win. Army against LSU. LSU wins. They've bounced back nicely since that loss to Ole Miss. Army, is an option. Team could give them issues, but yeah, I don't think they will. LSU wins. And speaking of, we got some of the Commanders and Chiefs facing up next for that trophy. Air Force and Navy. Shout out to Troy Calhoun. Forties at Air Force. Nice to see them get ranked after that win last week. As rivalry games, upset alert can happen. But Navy, got a win last week as well. But Air Force, very solid. It's still flying under the radar. I think Air Force continues to fly high. Give me the Falcons to win. Air Force. Good for Academy. North Texas and Tulane. Tulane, maybe the best team in Louisiana. Obviously, only have one loss to Ole Miss, who else you also lost to. And it's nice to see them back in the polls, and I think we continue to see them in the polls as I see Tulane Michael Pratt get the win against North Texas. Iowa lost another tight end for the year, so Brian Ferentz. Iowa makes the Big Ten championship, wins it, gets in the playoff. Brian Ferentz gets fired. That'd be funny. No one's hating that punishment, but still, that offense is so bad. Facing off against Minnesota, I think Iowa wins it, like how we continue to see Iowa win games defense, in like 10 points maybe. As Minnesota, kind of bad this year. Blew a big lead to Northwestern a few weeks ago. As I see Iowa gets the win with defense. What else is new? And UCLA and Stanford. How about, that's Saturday Night Live. Skit about Deion Sanders. Hilarious. See it if you haven't. As Stanford obviously had miraculous 2 OT win last week in Boulder against Colorado. And I think that was Stanford's moment in the sun this year, if I'm being honest. Troy Taylor, tough task rebuilding that program to like where it was like 10 years ago under David Shaw and Jim Harbaugh. But yeah, UCLA, I think, Dante Moore, tough loss in Corvallis last week, but I think they bounce back this week with a win in Palo Alto. Give me UCLA to win. Alright, so the recap, I'm picking Michigan, Penn State, FSU, Washington, Oklahoma, Texas, Oregon, UNC, Alabama, Auburn, USC, Missouri, LSU, Air Force, Tulane, Iowa, and UCLA. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys later. Later, guys.